Speaking of amazing, I see our guest is in the queue. Somebody want to bring him up? Anybody?
Is he in the queue? He's got a muted mic.
Yeah, we could bring him in.
Bring him in.
No, okay, there we go.
There we go. Mr. John Wayne Murdoch, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. I stopped the video because my apartment, like if I do the video, the Wi-Fi sucks, like, and it just will cause issues. It's just easier for me to do this without the video.
No, whatever works for you, man. Whatever works. We're just happy to have you, brother. How's everything?
I'm good. Banged up, but I'm good.
Rough weekend?
Not just rough career. I really didn't have nothing. Just over time, shit collects.
Yeah, I can imagine when you're in. How many? Do you have a count of how many deathmatch tournaments you've been in?
I've been in probably over 60 tournaments, and mostly have been deathmatch tournaments. I've been doing this since I've been doing death matches since 2011. So,
jeez, yeah, they'll do it.
Oh yeah.
So, why don't we start off with some fun stuff? You said you had some interesting stories about ICW and Danny DeMonto.
I wouldn't say interesting. Just I know there's probably some questions out there on why I left, or like, I mean, I put it out there on why, but I'm sure there's still people that don't quite understand the situation. Like, I'm always happy with everything I've done with ICW. I feel like during the pandemic, like, I pretty much put that company on my back, me, Eric Ryan, and a few others. Like, anybody that Danny got at that time, you can name any of the people that you liked at ICW, and I either gave Danny their name, forced Danny when he didn't want to use them, like Odell Patricks or Reed Bentley or somebody like that. I'm like, no, Danny, you should do it, use them. And then they ended up making his company a lot better. So, like, I felt like I did a lot for ICW, and just when it was time for me to, not, I wouldn't say cash in my chips, but hey, I need a raise, or like, I need to be paid more. It just, we would butt heads on it, and he would get the shittiest hotel rooms, like just ceiling falling in, bugs everywhere, like just complete shitholes. So then I would start getting my own hotel and just giving him the bill. That become a problem. He didn't like that. So it just become a headache. So I was like, I blocked him. I didn't say I quit. Because with someone like Danny, you just got to get rid of them, or they just keep fucking coming back at you, or making excuses, or making them making themselves the victim, which he would do countless times. Also, he would destroy buildings. Don't know how many buildings we've been in, or nice deathmatch venues that he has fucked up because he would not clean or wouldn't do what he need to. I know there's a building in Indianapolis that was, I think GCW held the collective there. We can no longer go there now. No one can, because the dude got pissed because Danny fucked everything up. So I just pretty much blocked him, and this is like, fuck this. Oh, I did find out he was signing my name to stuff, and he had a whole eBay store selling 8x10s and shit. And like, fans would hit me up and like, yo, is this your signature? Because my signature is real shitty, so it's hard to miss. Which also, I don't understand why he couldn't do it right. It's literally a J and some squiggly fucking lines. So like that's how incompetent he is, to a level as he couldn't even fake my fucking signature right. So that's Danny. Like I said, again, I love what I did for ICW. Do I regret it? Because my body fucking is falling apart. Yeah. Do I regret who I did it for? Yeah. But I mean, as long as the fans get enjoyment out of it, that's fine. But yeah, that is pretty much the Danny story. And as far as stories go, don't really have anything that sheds him in a good light. So
yeah.
What are the realistic tolls that death matches like take up people on deathmatch wrestlers? Like, is it do you guys consider it like life or death, or do you guys pretty much know what you're doing and it's just like you're just gonna feel like absolute dog shit the next day?
Yeah, if you look at it like life or death, you're doing something wrong. Like if you're going out there, it's like a magic show. If you're really going into a magic show and you're really thinking you're going to see somebody get sawed in half, it's fucking, or you're the magician that's really putting that out there like you're doing it, you're a goof. Like I take more of a like Penn and Teller approach to wrestling. Yes, this is fucking everything we do is not, I wouldn't say fake, but we know what we're doing. Like we're doing this so you get the illusion that we're in danger. Yes, we're gonna get cut up and stuff, but like never go to a death match thinking you're gonna see somebody die, or never be the death match guy going into it going, oh, I could die. Yes, that's there and shit happens, but like I don't ever go into it like that. I just know like days after or that night or the shower or long term, the shit's gonna suck. Like it's more mental, like the drive home or the plane ride home, your shirt's sticking to you because you're fucking bleeding, and that shit's irritating. Or you have to wash your sheets every day because there's just skin and scabs and just disgusting shit stuck to your fucking bed sheet. Or I got a leather couch, so like I try to wear a shirt and then your shirts, it's uncomfortable. And I don't think people realize that. Like they see the match and the match ends, and you're like, okay, that's done. And it might be done for the fan, but that guy's got at least 2 or 3 weeks of, and that's only if he's doing one. I'm doing multiple a weekend. I try to do every weekend as much as I can death match. So I'm getting cuts on top of cuts. I've got some cuts that are healing with fresh cuts. It's just, it's more mental, I would say, than physical.
Wait, I gotta ask him. Was there one cut that you've suffered that, thinking back, maybe you should have went to the hospital, had somebody patch you up?
There's been a couple. Actually, I got a good example. I cut my wrist right before I went to, and it was the GCW War Games match. It was us against Freedoms, so it was big, huge death match. A lot of Japanese guys. Like that match, you will never be able to recreate because there's never going to be a chance to get all 10 of those guys in the same ring. So, like halfway through, I cut my wrist, and it was pretty bad. And I was like, okay, well, because I have to go to Japan, like in less than 8 hours, I'm on a flight to Japan. So I just bandage it. I get to Japan, I get some wraps, and I just go through it. Looking back, I could have got serious infection. Anything could have happened because it was just a pretty much wide open cut. So I should have went and done something with that and still tried to make the flight. But when you're in situations like that, like this was my second time in Japan, I think maybe my third, and I wasn't going to miss it. So I just got on the plane.
And in general, I'm not saying you specifically, but like deathmatch wrestlers in particular, how difficult is it from them to go from a death match to maybe a regular, pro wrestling match? Is there any difference in how you prepare? Are there nerves on different levels? Does that happen? Do deathmatch wrestlers go back and perform strictly professional wrestling matches?
Oh yeah, and then a lot of death matches, a lot of good death matches should be just pro wrestling matches with stuff added into it. I know a lot of deathmatch wrestlers get into the habit of just wanting to brawl or just doing this because it's easier on the body. I mean, a lot of people say you get hurt more doing regular matches if you don't have the tubes or you don't have the gimmicks to rely on to get you through, or to get the pop from the crowd. You're having to take a bump or do a wrestling move or something like that. But I mean, going back, it's not really hard. Just knowing how to keep the crowd interested and find your pops, and it's just riding that wave, getting the crowd hype and then letting them calm down and then getting them hype again. It's easier when you got a bunch of tubes and weapons and explosions. A lot harder when you just got to wrestle.
Was it? So I mean, I'm guessing that you started off just as as a professional wrestler, not a deathmatch wrestler. Was that something that, like, transitioning into deathmatch, was that a natural transition for you? Was that something that you were apprehensive about? What was the transition like?
So like I started wrestling. I started training when I was 14. I had my first match, 14, 15. No, death matches were never in my. I never even thought about it. Didn't even know what a death match was. I just wanted to be a wrestler. 2008, I did a IWA Mid South tryout show for Ian Rotten. It went well. Didn't make the tryout show. I mean, didn't make it, but he had good things to say. Spin around to 2011. There was a spot that needed to be filled for King of Death. He liked me, remembered me from 2008, so he reached out to a buddy who reached out to me. I was like, sure, whatever. What is this, hardcore? Fine, I'll do it, because I wanted a way, and because I was just stuck in Nashville and Tennessee, and I was just like spinning my heels. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take this chance. So I looked it up, and I'm like, man, what did I get myself into? So literally, when I walk into the building in 2011, King of Death, that is my first experience with death matches. And at the time, King of Death was in America one of the big. It was the big three. You had TOD, King of Death, and maybe IWA Deep South or whatever. So I'm getting thrown into the wolves for my first death match, and just going out there and doing it, and not knowing what I'm doing, and having somebody that could lead me through. As Simon says, he led me through a hell of a death match. Do it, come to the back, and there's guys like Drake Younger and BJ Whitmere and all them, and they're clapping. They're like, that was really good. And I was just hooked from that point on.
Who was your toughest opponent in the past 2 months? Maki Ito or Dr. Redacted?
Both for different reasons. Maki, she's just a bundle of energy. So is Dr. Redacted. But Maki, she's a sweetheart, but yeah, she's tough, and she means business. You get in there with her, yeah. And Redacted, he's just a fucking crazy nut job. There's no better way. I think he goes out there trying to do more harm to himself than his opponent. But yeah, I think they're both a rough night in the office.
No, I completely understand that. My limited exposure to Dr. Redacted at this point, yeah, it kind of seems that way. Where you're absolutely right. He is more interested in hurting himself. I'm always fascinated because I know GCW always brings Maki Ito in. I would imagine she's learning more English. She's kind of everybody in the locker room, knows who she is, accepts her. She probably gets along with everybody. What's that experience like? Knowing that she's been on national TV, that she's got a name for herself, and she comes back to the locker room. She's always coming to Game Changer Wrestling, and she's just kind of one of the boys. What's that like?
So she, as far as the language goes, wrestling, thank God, is one of those universal languages. Me and my opponent, we don't have to we don't have to understand each other. He doesn't have to understand English. I don't have to understand Japanese. But just movements and the way that just certain things that's just universal. Now, as far as Mikey, she's more to herself. She'll sit on the floor in the corner, and she'll stay to herself. But I can't say her English has got a little better for sure. I know Macizos, when they first started coming around, their English was very bad, but they're even starting to come along and learning a little bit more. But yeah, wrestling, thank God, is a universal language, and you really don't have to be on the same page language-wise to get this.
So I gotta ask an opinion about one of my favorite professional wrestlers who has infiltrated the deathmatch world.
Oh, jeez.
And obviously, he calls himself the deathmatch king as a way to get heat. But let me ask your honest thoughts on what Matt Cardona has contributed to GCW and the deathmatch world.
So I told him this in Florida. I walked up to him and I said, a lot of deathmatch guys hate you because of fucking what you say or how you carry yourself. But I was like, I don't. You've brought so many new eyes to us that might not have seen a John Wayne Murdoch death match or might not have seen a Nick Gage death match, but because you are promoting it or because you are using the word death match, you've opened up so much more. I have no problem in it because I know deep down Matt Cardona has 100% respect for what we do. I mean, I've walked to the back covered in blood and him just like disgusted and like, oh, this is fucking crazy. So like I respect Cardona. I respect what he's doing. I respect what he brings to the table. And yeah, I have nothing bad to say about Cardona. I know a lot of deathmatch guys will shit on him and he doesn't earn it and all this shit. He earned his stripes. He went out there with Nick Gage, went full death with a guy. He earned it more than anybody because he didn't have to. Looking at his bank account, he don't have to go out there and roll in fucking broken glass, but he still did it. So I respect that.
So you've done about a ton of, like you said, over 60 deathmatch tournaments. Is there anything you won't take, or any like weapon you see that in the back and you're like, nah, not doing that?
I'm not a big fan of like the barefoot. I've done it once.
Oh, fuck
and
that.
Oh God, yeah.
and that once was enough. I won't do like I'll do skewers, but I won't do like toothpicks stuck in anything. I had a bad incident. Me and Marcus Crane once did toothpicks, and I still got like 3 broken off in the back of my arm floating around, and he had some broke off in the back of his head. Like shit like that can break off and then like be buried in you. You can't get it to come out. That sucks. So like barefoot or toothpicks. But other than that, like I'm game for anything. I've done it all at this point.
JWM, I'm going to hit the chat real quick and get a question from a fan that's here. Hey, JWM, what wrestler inspired you to become a part of deathmatch wrestling? Is there one?
Well, like I said, I didn't know what deathmatch wrestling was until it was brought to me as far as an opportunity. But as I was searching, Drake Younger kept coming up in CZW, and how Drake would wrestle and how he would tease a spot and then pay it off and stuff like that. So like I hate to say it now with how much crazy bullshit he spewed into the world.
Yeah.
But sort of like Drake Younger inspired me to get started. Yeah.
And that was from SJ. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before. SJ in the chat. Big fan.
Cool.
Is GCW looking to use Reed Bentley more with you? You guys going after the tag titles more? You think?
Reed's a different situation. Reed has a really good job. He manages apartments and stuff like that. So his schedule's always like crazy. So yes, obviously we want to do more tags and eventually we are. But right now he's just got so much on his plate. He can't take the schedule that I take or anything like that. There's no heat and everybody's cool with everybody. It's just more of a scheduling thing.
That makes sense. So you said you were over in Japan. So we always ask guys that go over to Japan, did you eat raw horse meat when you were over there?
No, I didn't. I know when I went, Schlack and Shane Mercer and all those guys eat a shit ton of it. Honestly, when I went over there, I ate nothing but steak day and night. I'd wake up, go try to find a steak spot to eat. Dinner would be either Mr. Dangers or Ribera or Billy the Kid's Steakhouse. So yeah, when I'm over there, I'm trying to eat nothing but steak because I don't do sushi. I know if I'm ever going to try sushi, Japan's the best place, but I don't eat none of that. So yeah, when I'm there, I try to eat. Although I will put over the gas station corn dogs in Japan. They're fucking amazing. Yeah, just the right amount of hot dog and thick like breading. It's great.
Have you bought the woman's panties in the vending machines while you're in Japan?
No, but a lot of the boys got like the pocket pussies that they were over there. So, I won't mention names, but I know a couple of the boys splurged a little bit on the pocket pussies in Japan.
You mean splooged or splurged?
Yeah, a little of both.
Anybody partake in the girlfriend experience and the and whatever, I forget what they call the clubs over there.
Oh yeah, the massages. No, but if you ever have Jimmy Lloyd on, Jimmy Lloyd can tell you some good Japan stories.
None that you can share with us, or are we keeping it confidential?
None that I can share. No, no. If Jimmy wants to come on and share, he can. But
Actually, would
I'm going
love
to
to have
plead the
Jimmy Lloyd
fifth
on.
on this one.
Yeah.
I got two more questions for you, Mr. Murdoch, and
Okay.
of course, thanks again for joining us. Who should people, if they are not into the deathmatch wrestling and they want to get into it, who are people that you would recommend checking out, aside from yourself, of course?
Man, okay, so
Great question.
I'd say right now, I'd say check out Hoodfoot stuff. Honestly, anything deathmatch wise from Joey Janela. I think he gives the best like hybrid deathmatch. Like he gives a good mixture and he always gives it his all. Anything from Macizos. Man, there's so many good guys going right now. Eric Ryan is definitely one of them. Reed, for sure, because Reed might not have a big selection, but the death matches he's doing, they're always fucking good. So yeah, I mean, it's very hard to find something bad right now. I think death matches are on an upswing. So yeah.
So real quick, last one for me before we let you go. Is GCW, and forgive me because I'm not 100% locked in on GCW with all due respect, but do they offer more than just death matches? Are we getting, 'cause I think there was a time where they were just literally like doing the best of both, but is it pretty much all hardcore-esque matches right now, or do they
No, I
offer
honestly
both?
think GCW is moving away from like they'll have their weekends like Tournament of Survival and like the Atlantic City dates will always have some death matches on it and stuff like that. But like GCW, you can go and see just about anything. You can see like Cardona being entertaining and bringing that sports entertainment feel to it. You can see Mike Bailey, one of the best
Yeah.
wrestlers in the world, do his thing. They're always bringing in the best women wrestling right now. Like Effie's doing his thing. Like there's so much different stuff that I think death matches have become sort of a smaller thing for GCW, which I'm fine with. Like me and Brett had talked about it. Like I feel so good being able to go do 3 or 4 shows for GCW in a weekend, and they all not be death matches, and just being able to wrestle.
Right.
And it's so much easier on my body and stuff like that. So yeah, I think GCW is moving, and they have been for a while. Just being that place you can go and watch, and you can see everything. Lucha, like their scrambles are fucking great. Gringo Loco, like they've got so much to offer, more than I say any other indie company out there. Like GCW's hitting, they travel more. Like yeah, they've got it all.
And not to mention like their budding relationship with WWE. No one ever thought in a million years we would see WWE talent on a GCW show ever.
Oh yeah, the blood sport stuff. Like they've got so many different outlets and stuff. Like Brett, a lot of people like, oh, you hit Brett up and he never gets back to you, or it takes him forever. Brett's got so much on his plate. Like just think about the wrestling side of it on how many different wrestling cards he's trying to promote all at once and trying to keep that on track. And what wrestlers do I have for this show, or what wrestlers do I have for this show, or how can I spread all these wrestlers out without getting them oversaturated? It's insane to even just think about what he's got to deal with.
And one final question for you, sir. And Matt, who is not with us tonight, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask his question. When was the last time you shit your pants?
It's been a while. Actually, it was after I won, I think NGI 6. Is whenever I beat Cologne in NGI. The next night we're in Milwaukee, and it's me and Mance. And you can literally, I beg somebody to go find this because you can tell the moment it happens. we do something towards the end. It's right before I put him in the Koji clutch and he taps out. Right before that, I think it's a superplex or something. I shit my pants. And I'm literally like feeling the back of my pants because I'm wearing whites. I'm like, man, does it bled through? Like, what the fuck? And I tell Mance, I'm like, oh, we're going. Like, let's skip all this. I've shit my pants. But you can tell clear as day when watching it what had happened. But yeah, that's the last time.
I got the GCW subscription, so I know what I'm doing after this podcast.
Yeah. It was right after. It was one of those Milwaukee La Pica lounge shows or whatever. But it was in Milwaukee. Me and Mance Warner.
Let me get your login, Brendo.
I got you.
Well, folks, we have been on the line with John Wayne Murdoch. I know his information's been scrolling across the bottom of the screen, but don't forget to check him out wherever he's going to be wrestling. Follow him on social media at the Duke JWM. His shirt's available at deathmatchworldwide.com/category/John-Wayne. Just go to Deathmatch Worldwide. His shirt's on there. Support the dude, buy the shirt. You got anything upcoming you want to plug, Mr. Murdoch?
Yes, October 4th, Portland, Oregon. Death matches are going to come. We're going to try to carve out a scene in Portland for just strictly deathmatch wrestling. Our first show is October 4th. We were going to stream it free on YouTube, but due to the building being an armory and a government building, they're not allowing us on the Wi-Fi, which I think is dog shit, but whatever. But we're going to get it. We're going to get it edited that night and put it out same day. So look for that. Really support Pacific North Death because I think death matches should be everywhere. And we're bringing it to Portland, Oregon, and it's going to be a wild, crazy time. So, yeah, I want to plug that.
John Wayne Murdoch, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight, brother.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure.
Anytime you want to come back, hit us up. Let us know.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Take care. Have a good night.